When Russia invaded Ukraine on February 24, 2022, it shot itself in both feet. Making the decision to invade the neighbor was a crime, and I hope that the ones responsible for making that decision will be brought to justice. But to Russia, the decision to invade Ukraine was stupidity of cosmic scale. By that decision, Russia's rulers basically destroyed the country. They destroyed it in all possible areas, culturally, socially, technologically, geographically, and economically. Most of all, they destroyed it economically. I often compare Russia attacking Ukraine as Titanic hitting the iceberg. In both cases, the fate was decided in seconds when the events happened. But in both cases, the catastrophe did not happen immediately. It took some time for the worst to happen. It took about 2 hours for Titanic's compartments to get flooded, and it took Russia 14 months to get its own flooding, to run out of money. And this is what my today's stream is all about. Performance of Russian economy in the last 14 months and in the first 4 months of 2023. Performance so poor that the government agencies responsible for handling the economy are beginning to panic. Howdy, everyone. My name is Konstantin. Welcome to Inside Russia, where I give you important news updates that explain what is really happening in Russia. What you will not find here is BS, propaganda, and lies. What you will find here is truth, common sense and logic, and emotions, because I am a human being. Inside Russia is where usual Russia is explained by the unusual Russian. In the first 30 or so minutes, I give you my daily message that I find important. And after, I invite everyone to carry over to live stream chat where we converse and I answer questions. Love that very much. Thank you for coming today. And thank you for giving me a chance. Let's talk about Russian economy, its performance, its history, and its future. I talk often of the economy for two reasons. Economy is the foundation of everything that is happening in the country. The stronger the economy is, the longer the war will last and more people will die. The weaker Russian economy is, the sooner the war will be over. And second situation in the economy is dynamic. It changes due to circumstances. This is why I think it's important to update on the economy every single month. And it's time to update you, give you another update. May 22nd, 2023. It's safe to talk about what happened in Russian economy in the year of 2022 and in the first 4 months up to May 1st of 2023. First things first, kind of a short summary I give you so you understand, kind of remind you what happened in the last year. I'll be very, very short. To give you an understanding on how Russian economy performed after the war, you should know two things, basically. First, economically, Russia came to the beginning of the war in a good financial shape, a relatively good shape. Large liquid reserves, basically cash in a banking account of Russia's central bank, had been accumulated over the previous years. Russia used the excess of oil and natural gas somewhat wisely. And second, Russia has heavily relied on exports of oil and natural gas, mostly to Europe, as its financial bread making. Now, Russia invades Ukraine last February and almost immediately gets financially and economically isolated from the rest of the world. On February 24th, 2022, it was clearly understood by any sane economist what was about to follow: the economic crash in Russia. It is clear to anyone with even a little bit of brains, that Russia economically and financially is dependent on other countries. This is the very core. That please understand that Russia does not produce nearly anything, but it extracts natural resources in large quantities, primarily oil, natural gas, and metal ores. Well, exported in the past. It does not export much anymore. That is what Russian economical and financial well-being is mostly based on: extracting natural resources and selling them. Russia just doesn't do anything else. Russian economy is basically a large gas station. Yeah, I'm not the first one to say that. I'm just repeating, but I totally agree. Now, imagine what happens if everyone stops buying gas from a gas station. It simply runs out of money. Last year, Russia invades Ukraine, starts killing Ukrainians. And global oil markets panic follows. Because, what happens next? Oil and gas prices soar. You'll remember the high gas prices that you paid at the gas stations back in March, in April, and May of 2022. Remember, the prices went up. They were outrageous. Well, guess what? Russia was cashing in. You were paying those premiums for Russia. They were going to Russia. Simultaneously, Russia stopped spending money, lots of money, due to international trade was greatly reduced. Lots of companies left Russia, Western companies left Russia, and they stopped selling things to Russia. So Russia was accumulated money, but spending much less than before. And basically that's in a nutshell what you need to know about the performance of Russian economy last year in 2022. Of course, many economic and financial bombs happened in Russia, so to speak. They exploded due to international sanctions. Russia was banned from international money market. Russia was cut off SWIFT. Russian banks were placed under sanctions. Russian producers of metals were placed under sanctions. You name it, But thing is, high oil and gas prices, they covered everything. Many economists, myself included, thought that Russian economy will start seeing big troubles in the fall of last year, 2022. I was thinking October or November. But it didn't happen, mostly to one single reason. Russia was swimming in extra money that you were paying, the premiums you were paying at the gas stations. Then what happened? Europe, once Russia's biggest and best customer, stopped buying both oil, now it's illegal for European countries to buy oil, and stopped buying natural gas. Everyone else globally willing to buy Russian oil was forced to have a price cap on Russian oil. Basically, importers of Russian oil all over the world cannot pay Russia more than $60 per barrel. Before I finish painting the big picture, you need to know one more thing. Russian budget spendings have increased by 50%. They started increasing last June, July. That is the price of financing the war in Ukraine. Russian military-industrial complex is working 24/7, and boy, it is thirsty. Now, that was 2022. You understand what's happened. In the beginning of 2023, this year, mere 5 months ago, Russia's budget deficit jumped. with forecasted deficit of 3 billion rubles, just in 3 months, the real budget deficit reached 2.6 billion rubles. So in 3 months, they were spending so much more and earning so much less that they had predicted mere few months before, couple months before, that it was clear for everyone to see that it was time to sound an alarm. And many economists started sounding alarms, myself included. You remember my streams from February, from January, But the government came out immediately and said, don't you worry, everything is going according to the plan. Yes, the spendings have grown in January and February. Yes, the revenues have fallen, but that's okay. Because look, we spent so much more in the beginning of the year than at the year's end. We need to give advance payments to all those companies producing missiles, rockets, and tanks, and bullets, and poisonous gas, whatever, I don't know. So at the same time, they made all this information confidential, so we don't really know how the money is being spent. But let's assume, I think it's safe to assume that money is being spent for the war machine. So they said, we spent the bulk of money now, and we'll spend so much less down further, the following months of the year. That's how it works. And at the same time, we receive so much less in the beginning of the year, but we will be receiving more and more as the year progresses, because guess what's going to happen to the oil prices? They're going to go up. OPEC will cut down the oil production and it'll balance things out. So folks, don't you worry. Why did they say that? I think for one reason, to keep Russian folks calm. Here's the explanation that Russian people, regular Russian people, can understand. And this is exactly what they did. Hey, this is something you can understand, so don't worry. Now go back drinking vodka and watching TV. And we'll take everything, we'll take care of everything. You just don't worry about anything, right? And Russian common folk, as usual, swallowed it. It's actually the biggest mystery to me, okay? I understand the economy. It's like X-rayed to me. I understand, why they started the war. I understand what's going to be in the future for Russia, for the rulers of Russia, current rulers of Russia. This is obvious. But the mystery, what remains mystery, is why Russian people swallow these lies so easily. Why believe the lies so easily? That beats me. So the numbers, financial numbers for April finally came out. They were a little late this month. I think they were trying to approach the way how to cook them. But anyway, we are dealing with the numbers that the Russian government gave us. And so what happened? Basically, nothing happened that I had not predicted. Oil and gas revenues have continued the free fall. Comparing 4 months of 2022 and 4 months of 2023, last and this year, in 2023, we have minus 52% of oil and gas revenue. And I remind you, folks, this is Russia's bread making. Russia does not have anything else except for taxes. It collects from people and companies and oil and gas sales, well, metals too. But if we compare April to April, if we take April of 2022 and compare it to April 2023, we will have 64% less. Well, folks, to me, it sounds like a disaster, you know? And it is. Proves that oil and natural gas sanctions are working very effectively, actually. And let's take a look at the Russian war spendings. According to what Russian government officials were telling us in January, in February, there was nothing to worry about because they were making the advance payments. The bulk of spendings will be made in January, were made in January and February, and the following months will be lighter in terms of spendings. So now we can easily assume that April is spendings for the military-industrial complex much lower. All advancement payments were made in the beginning of the year. But guess what? The spendings keep growing. Surprise, surprise. Another lie by the Russian government officials. It's obvious. I did not believe in it back then, and I don't understand how people could believe, because one simple reason. Russia's war machine is hungry, and the hunger will grow. There are no circumstances under which the military spendings in Russia will be cut anytime soon. We are in the middle of the war. Moreover, the Ukrainians have beefed up their army. They have received so much modern, advanced armaments, weapons, and they are staging a counteroffensive now. There are fights happening on the territory of Russia and Belgrade. Okay, officially, Russian government just hours ago announced that it enacted anti-terrorist situation in province of Belgrade. So there is no way Russia's war machine will be using less money. No, it'd be absolutely crazy to think that, okay? Now, Russia's budget deficit at this point, this is huge. This is probably the most important number. Russian budget deficit is currently 3.4 trillion rubles. That is 17% more than the government planned for the entire year for 2023. Just 5 months ago, and we still have 8 more months to go. So now, at this point, if we are continuing to spending according to the plan made last year, taking into the consideration the actual spendings of the first 4 months, which is, I think, unrealistic. The spendings will increase, will continue to grow. So, but anyway, the perfect case scenario, if we take it that the budget deficit is already at over 7 trillion rubles at the end of the year. Already, it's happened. At this point, it's already done. And Russia already does not have enough liquid assets, cash reserves, to cover all this happened expenses. It has currently about 6.4 trillion rubles in cash and liquid assets. It means one thing: the Titanic compartments are flooded. They're full of water. And Titanic starts going under. What is happening in Russian government agencies who are responsible for economy? Judging from what I have seen from different sources, there is light panic in those agencies. They understand that situation is dire. They understand the situation is worsening. They understand there are no circumstances under which it will start getting better, only worse. They understand that well. I believe these agencies, the Ministry of Economic Development, Ministry of Finance, and so forth, they are full of smart people. So they understand. At this point, they also understand that they must start doing something. Because if they wait until the end of the year not doing anything, the cash reserves will be gone and then financial death. They will have no money to pay salaries to government workers, Army, KGB. They will have no money to pay pensions. They will have no money to cover medical expenses, medicine, education, and so forth. So, in order to somehow survive, they must start doing something now. Now let's take a look at the options. What are they? Not many. Russia's situation, the dire situation of the economy, is not unique. I mean, it's unique because of the war with Ukraine. It's unique because of Russia's status of pariah in the world. That is unique. But in general, countries run out of money sometimes, here and there. Let's remember Argentina in the past. Let's remember Greece. Let's remember Italy. Let's remember the United States. What happens then? Plain and simple. The governments borrow money. They create emergency economic plan, and they need to borrow money, and they need to change something about their economies are going to get the economies back on track. Plain and simple. I mean, you don't have to reinvent the wheel, okay? If you're an economist and you complete 4 years of college, you know what to do. That's fiscal policy, okay? Basically covers that. Where do the countries usually borrow from? The global financial markets. Well, guess what happens with Russia now? No such luck. Russia is sanctioned. Russia is pariah. Russia has been isolated. It has no access to global money whatsoever. Russian government can come up with some kind of a program to borrow from Russian people. But, I mean, this is a joke because that's not going to work. Russian people are out of money. They are getting by, or start getting by now. They have no money to invest. And if I was a Russian person, buying bonds from the government, you must trust the government. You'd have to be absolutely insane to do that. So Russia cannot borrow any money. Number two, what they can do, the second option, is they can raise taxes. Oh, that they can do, and that they will. We have seen that before, and actually it'll work in a very short run, in a few months. What's going to happen is, and I'm pretty sure they already have programs to raise taxes everywhere by a huge margin. They will raise personal taxes, they will raise corporate taxes, business taxes, small business taxes, and value-added tax. Is it good for the economy? It might buy them a few months. But in general, that will cost Russian economy dearly. We have a fresh example. About 5 years ago, Russian government increased VAT, that's value-added tax. Well, basically in the United States, it's called state sales tax. and it varies from state to state, and some don't even have it at all, like New Hampshire, and some in Maine, they used to be 7%. So basically, any purchase you make, 7% is added. That's value added tax. In Russia, it's a federal tax. The money doesn't go to provinces, the money goes to federal government, to the budget. And it used to be 18%, but then they increased the value added tax by 2% to 20%. Now, so yes, we are paying 20% sales tax on everything that we buy in Russia. But it's not on top of the price. It's already hidden in the price, you see. The government was saying, hey, look, we're going to take that extra money and we're going to put it into the development of the economy and business. And that's actually good for economy because so much money will be generated and, it didn't work like that. Economy went down big time. In general, when you lower taxes, people start making, like doing more business. That gives them incentive to do business. When you raise taxes, why bother making money? Because the government takes it from you, So that's how it works. Well, the Russian government sees it a different way. Option number 3, the easiest one is printing money. Starting the printing press. We know what will happen. And, well, they already started printing money. They printed 2 trillion rubles last the end of March, and they put it into the economy, and they made a lame excuse. What kind of money is that? Is saying, oh, we just got extra taxes, Yeah, right. So they have started printing money, but they will increase. The printing press will start printing faster. What will happen, and it's already started happening, inflation will increase. Prices will be going up. They have already gone up, but they will be going up more and more. And inflation is not good for people because no one likes to pay higher prices for everything. So the government will try to suppress inflation by raising interest rate. Central bank, it will happen. But guess what happens when a Russian central bank raises interest rate? Business will suffer. Remaining business that is still left in Russia will suffer greatly. So this is a lose-lose situation. Russian economy does not have many options at this point. They're still trying to operate within quasi-free market model. What's going to happen, I think, further into 2023 is Russian government will start regulating markets in the economy way more. There will be new laws forbidding businessmen do things. There will be new laws confiscating property and money from certain people or businesses. And this is how they're going to be recovering, losses and making some money. And of course, the taxes will be increased so much. Wow. There are huge problems that are driving Russian economy down. And the biggest problem, of course, is the war and, as a result, international sanctions. Okay? There is no capital influx into Russia, investment capital. So Russia cannot, basically, businesses don't have money. The projects cannot be executed. Large infrastructure projects, nothing. There is no money going into Russia. On the other hand, tons of money leaving Russia because Russian businessmen and Russian people trying to take money, get it out of Russia and run. Another huge problem is the exodus of people out of Russia is continuing. Every single day, we in Tashkent see new faces. People come to Tashkent Breakfast Club, and we're just a tiny venue. They come here all over, and they settle. They look for jobs. They look for information to where to go next. Some consider this as a transit place, and some are as destination. So we are seeing it with our own eyes. It is continuing, and this is a huge blow to Russian economy. It's as bad that Vladimir Putin himself signed a decree not too long ago, about a week ago, ordering Russian government to come up with ways to stop Russians leaving Russia. That's official, okay? And to top it off, world's economy is cooling. And the prices of oil and gas will go lower despite the attempts of OPEC to decrease oil production and keep the prices high. They did it already. They cut the production. It didn't help. And Russia is going to hurt badly because of that. That's going to kill the remaining, oil and gas revenues that are, going into Russia drop by drop. And of course, Russian military-industrial complex will become hungrier and hungrier. So all in all, if we compare Russian economy and Titanic, I would say that the compartments are full of water. And Titanic was angling down at a slow speed first, but then as water was flooding the compartments, the angle was increasing and the speed of its increase was increasing too. And this is we're at the point in Russia of exactly that. The compartments are flooded and the economy is angling down fast. My bet is that towards the end of the year, we will see an economic disaster in the country. Living standard falling. It's been falling, but slowly. But it's going to be falling much more abruptly. Okay, and overall economic situation is going to be much, much worse. The only difference is speed. In the last 14 months, the economy was worsening slow, but now speed is increasing. This is what happens when people don't control the government, folks. This is what happens when we are the people this concept is non-existent in the country. It what happens when people are not on the top demanding the government to behave and act accordingly, but are at the bottom. Their freedoms are taken away from them and they are suppressed. I'm taking popcorn. I am laying back and I am watching the show. But I cannot tell you that I'm enjoying it too much. I'm hurting because a lot of people in Ukraine and in Russia will be hurting so much. Thank you so much. This has been my message for today, and I would like to invite everyone to carry on to live stream chat. I see that there are about 4,800 people, which is fantastic. Thank you all. Would you please do me a favor and help spread my message by making reposts of this message in your social media accounts? That'd be fantastic. Thank you. Also, please join my Telegram channel called Inside Konstantin's Russia. Link in the description below. And if you want to buy me coffee, I would enjoy that very much. Thank you. I'm turning on the live stream chat and let's talk about it. Ready to answer all the questions that you throw it to me. I dare you to ask me questions. And of course, the question of the day today is not the economy, but what's going on in Belgrade. We can discuss that too. Whatever. Soon as I turn on the comments, Mommy and Lorna, #1, lightning fast, like super girls, you know. Thank you so much for coming. Blackad is right next to them. Harry Potman, Bob S, and Prince Amir. Thank you so much. Before I even start reading the comments, folks, I'd like to say that there's a very special day today. Our lovely mod, a trusted member of Inside Russia mod group, the member of Mod HQ, and my personal consigliere, Mammy K, is celebrating her birthday today. She is turning 18 years old, and I would like to say congratulations, happy birthday, Mammy, and I wish you many happy returns of the day. Please be healthy, be wealthy, be cheerful, and be continue being yourself. You are a lady with a heart of gold, and thank you so much for being, giving us an honor to have you in this community and in this group as a moderator. Thank you so much. I'm going to sing a song now, so please cover up your ears, the ones listening. It's usually not pretty. Dear Mommy, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Mommy. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Wishing you many happy returns of the day. And folks, I assure you, I will not quit my day job, which kind of I don't have now. Thanks to Mr. Putin and his decision to destroy Russia. If you want me to notice your question or comment, please put it in caps and put Inside Russia after @ sign as usual, so it jumps right into my site in large orange box highlighted. Thank you so much. Another top 10, says Dave Strains. I'm not sure what you mean. There are 2 super chats right off. Thank you so much, Artistic Wolf. Always been curious about your opinion on this. In the event something happens to Putin, let's say heart attack, what do you think happens after? This is an open-end question because there are too many variables. I don't know. There are scenarios, yes. There are 2 major scenarios. One, Russia turns onto a path of democracy. Someone nice and good comes as a leader, and Russian government is changed. The Russia is changed completely, because in order for Russia to become a decent country, it needs to change its entire organization of how it's governed. Okay, so there's one path. It happens. Another path, Putin is replaced by another Putin. A good Putin or a bad Putin. A good Putin, basically he goes to the West and asks, please forgive us. We will pay retribution to Ukraine, contribution to Ukraine, we will rebuild. Please forgive us. It's Putin's fault. It's not our fault. There are some people who helped them, and we're going to give them to you. Here they are, but please don't touch us. Let us go back to Miami, south of France, England, London. That's where our families are from, and things like that. That's one scenario. And another one, of course, nothing changes in Russia, just personalities. Hopefully I answered your question, but it's a very tough one. Jason Carney comes back with a huge bang and huge support as usual. Thank you, Jason. I appreciate. Thank you. Please write me email. I'd like to do something nice to you for all this support. Thank you. Greetings from upstate New York, says Leslie Fleming. Howdy, friends, the usual suspects. Pacific Beach, California. Wish I was there. Charlie B. Black Cat says we have in-house legend. She has a birthday today. The bestest of the bestest, the wonderful person on YouTube. I second that. Thank you, Black Cat. Cyberash 3000. Nope, Russia is performing a special military operation in Belgorod in itself. Congrats. Are you saying congrats to me? I'm the wrong person to say congrats, I'm sorry. White Lightning, reports coming from Belgorod were saying Russia Volunteer Corps caused 1 casualty on Russian land. These anti-Putin Russians are AFU. Implications, I don't understand what AFU and what implications. I'm sorry, friend, I didn't understand the question. He's here, only 10,000 in Belgorod, nothing to fear. 10,000 of who? 10,000 of who? Marilyn, thank you for concise explanation. Marilyn, you should see how much of preparation goes into these things, because I have this huge amount of data, and I try to chisel a short and simple message out of this data, okay? This work I've never done before. It's so much different from anything I did for a living, and generally in life for hobby. I don't even know what it is. It's not journalism, it's not research, it's like a little bit of everything. So thank you for acknowledging. Thank you. It's really, really time consuming, and it's really not easy. Steve Hayes, thank you so much. Appreciate nice words. Jeffrey S, fudging the numbers, fudged on access to securing rubles equals what the fudge stream, Mr. Kostya. Jeffrey S, the official humor expert of Inside Russia. Amir, you can play it if you want to when it's time. Mikhail Asp, I really appreciate the stream. Thank you. Well, thank you for your support. I appreciate the support. Paula W, 18 is amazing indeed. Kaltenberg's ears hurt. I know, please forgive me. Can you say something about Belgorod? Hang on. Can you say something about Belgorod? Asking Trudy. There isn't much I can say at this point, except for they have been reports, and there were lots of reports coming in this morning that Ukrainian troops actually moved into Russia's land in Belgorod province. Then reports started coming in, then it's not the Ukrainians, but Russians who fight on the Ukrainians' side. And then Russian propaganda started coming up with messages literally like 6-8 hours ago saying, oh, that's fakes. Nothing's going on in Belgorod. And of course they were lying because, 6 hours later, Russian government announces anti-terrorist operation in Belgorod and, announces that there are a bunch of terrorists that came to Belgorod from Ukraine, and now, Russian army has adequate resources to eliminate them. So the Russian propaganda, how to put it mildly, fudged up again. But what else is new? And this is what's happening now. So now, I think, this is a part of Ukrainian counteroffense. They're trying to, they probe in different sides of Russian defense, and Russian troops will be moving to take care of the threat. And so the other parts of the front will be left weaker, and the Ukrainians will strike there. So that's sounds to me like a good military strategy, SF Joe, howdy. When you say keep all Russians inside Russia, you are including women and children. By the way, my wife Lee and I love messages. Well, first of all, Joe, thank you for being a part of the community for such a long time. Thank you for loving the messages. I really appreciate it. That's why I'm making them. Keep on making them. Keep all Russians inside Russia is actually a pretty scary thing. Vladimir Putin, about a week ago, he signed a decree. He ordered a Russian government to come up with a number of actions, like an action plan, to make sure that Russians don't leave Russia, to increase the living standard of the Russian people, and to make Russia more attractive to the Russians so they wouldn't want to leave. But this is smokes over the water, because a lot of Russian presidential decrees, they have hidden parts. For example, the infamous decree he signed on September 21st, 2022, on the mobilization. He signed an executive order or decree, I don't know how you call it. But anyway, there were like 9 articles there, and one article was missing. There was like article number 7 and then article number 9. And when reporters asked, what about article number 8? They simply were given the answer, oh, it's confidential. It's made secret, top secret. Okay, so how many documents have these top secret parts? And I'm pretty sure that this document that he signed also has secret parts. The parts to show, I was like, oh, let's increase living standard of Russian people so they feel better about living in Russia. And then, the ones we don't see, are pretty sinister. That's what I'm afraid of. I'm not sure about women and children. We will see soon. Rudy Kaisley, who is loudmouth Rudy. By the way, thank you for being the sponsor for so many months. Dima goes jogging. Konstantin waxes economic, but only Anna from Ukraine has got hats and t-shirts. Summer is coming. Point taken. Thank you. Thank you, Rudy. Caesars. Hi, Konstantin. If Russia turned democratic, how long you think that democracy would have to last for it to become stable? Hey, Caesars. Good question. Thank you for your support. Let's take a look at the past. Remember what Moses did 2,000 years ago?